Hi there, everybody. We are on the final section of this binder of Pokemon cards. These are the oldest set of cards that I own. And I have a lot of other binders full of cards with a bunch of older sets than the current set, but these are the oldest overall. So let's get back to taking a look at them, going over every card. So first up, we have Jigglypuff here. This is from the Jungle set. As you can see, there's the little flower that almost looks like the Venusaur flower. I remember this card because I noticed that the watercolor coloring effect is very dark on Jigglypuff. Nowadays, Jigglypuff is drawn with a lot lighter of a pink. This Jigglypuff has 60 HP and its signature lullaby move. Now this is pretty powerful because it doesn't look like in the description that there is any drawback. It's just the defending Pokemon is now asleep. No flipping of coins or anything like that. No conditions. Just one colorless energy, which can be anything. Next up we have Mankey. Its Pokemon power is Peak. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may look at one of the following. This top card on either your player's deck, a random card from your opponent's deck, or one of either player's prizes. That's pretty interesting for scouting right there. And he has his signature move Scratch, which does 10 damage for one colorless energy. Unfortunately for Mankey, he's pretty weak in terms of HP, 30 HP, and that's absolutely unheard of these days. Back in the day, you could get away with 30 HP, I suppose, because I believe the highest HP topped out somewhere at like 120. I know Charizard had 120. I think maybe the Blissey card from this kind of era. And I would imagine Snorlax would have a decent amount of HP as well. But I think the ceiling was somewhere around 120. Next up we have Meowth sitting on a pile of coins. He must have used his payday move quite a lot in order to get all those coins. And Meowth is rocking 50 HP. We have Nidoran female up next, backed by a nice forest scape there. This is the Poison Pin Pokemon. It has Fury Swipes, which does 10 damage times the number of heads that you get when flipping 3 coins, it looks like. So you get quite a lot of chances to do more than 10 damage for 1 grass energy. Also has Call for Family here. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon named Nidoran. It can be the male or female, and put it on your bench. I guess maybe back in the day, people might have run a Nidoking and Nidoqueen deck, and you could just get a bunch of the basic Nidoran out on the field that way. We have Oddish here. Looks like we're running through a field at nighttime. With Stun Spore, gotta flip a coin, and if heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. And Sprout. You can search your deck for another Oddish, it looks like, and put it on your bench. pretty useful. I have Paris here. As a kid, this was always a Pokemon that kind of creeped me out. I guess it's understandable considering when it turns into Parasect, the mushrooms on its back have basically just taken over the creature. Paris knows Scratch, which is pretty signature for it, and Spore. It's interesting seeing a move like this, where Spore is an unconditional, the Pokemon is now asleep, for 2 grass energy, versus Jigglypuff's Lullaby. Same exact move there, except only requires 1 colorless energy. We have Pikachu here, the original kind of chunky boy before he's leaned out a little bit. I do really like this artwork of Pikachu. It just looks clean and cute. It has Spark. If your opponent has any benched Pokemon, choose one of them, and this attack does 10 damage to it. So that's a nice way to get 20 damage on the defending Pokemon, as well as start doing some chip damage to the benched. And back in the day when the ceiling for damage, or the ceiling for HP was only like 120, that chip damage did play a part. Rhyhorn is up next. He has Leer. The way they translate Leer to the card game is you flip a coin, and if heads, the defending Pokemon can't attack Rhyhorn during your opponent's next turn. And benching either Pokemon ends the effect. So that's a little bit of stalling, it looks like. Give you a chance to add another energy without having to worry about getting attacked. Horn attack for 30 damage. We have Spearow here. Looks like he was successful in catching a little worm there. The Spearow and Pharaoh line always looks kind of angry, in my opinion. They're like, I mean, not that Pidgey and Pidgeot and Pidgeotto look like they want to give you a hug or anything, but they just look kind of ploofy and regal. This guy looks a little rough and tumble. He has Peck and Mirror move. If Spearow was attacked last turn, do the final result of that attack on Spearow to the defending Pokemon. Well, the limit of that would be 40 damage because Spearow's only got 50 HP, so for 3 energy, that I don't know if it'd be worth it or not, but interesting that he has that for a card. Next up, we're starting out with a Venonat. There's little green writing here, but I don't believe that it translates to the card. Yeah, no, the green writing is only on the binder. I think that, like I said, I got this from my great cousin. My dad's cousin, who's basically the same age range as me, gave it to me when I was younger. I'm guessing at one point he had thought about selling singles from the set. I should go back and replace these little plastic sleeves so that they don't have the little yard sale. Like, Stitto's definitely worth more than 10 cents, at least for nostalgia for me. So Venonat has Stun Spore and Leech Life. Kind of cute little guy, just a little fluffy circle. We have a Pokeball trainer card. Flip a coin. If heads, you may search your deck for any basic Pokemon or evolution card. Show the card to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle the deck. Very regal looking Articuno. It's always fun to see how the art evolves over time. Because in this artwork, I think he looks pretty cute. Yep, it's a holographic. He has kind of a little bit of a derpy face. And his little bloom up top looks a little bigger than they normally draw it now. But I do like that cutesy little artwork for him. As freeze dry, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. 30 damage. And blizzard. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 10 damage to each of your Pokemon's benched or each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So that's pretty good. Especially if they've got a pretty stacked bench going. On top of 50 damage. Hitmonlee. Looking ready to rock. He has Stretch Kick. If your opponent has any benched Pokemon, choose one of them. This attack does 20 damage to it. And his signature High Jump Kick, 50 damage for 3 fighting. Pretty strong fellow here. Definitely a glass cannon with 60 HP, but still. Ditto with Transform as its ability. I think it's interesting that they draw him in this little, like, checkerboard pattern room as the background. It's like I kind of want to know where that is. We have Hypno. A bit of a creepy fellow here. When I play like Fire Red, Leaf Green, I usually go for the Drowsy Hypno line rather than the Abra Kadabra Alakazam line. I know that he's like not as good in terms of his damage output's a bit weaker, and I don't think he's as fast, but I like that he's bulkier. He can take a hit or two, whereas if you sneeze on Alakazam, he's down for the count. He's got Prophecy. That's a pretty big sounding move. Look at the top 3 cards from the top of either player's deck. Rearrange them as you like. For 1 energy, that's pretty good for scouting and for kind of throwing a wrench in the works if you replace a Pokemon's, or an opponent's upcoming cards. If they've got something good for the next draw and you throw it at the bottom of the 3-card stack. Dark Mind. If your opponent has any benched Pokemon, choose one of them, and this attack does 10 damage to it. We have Moltres down here, another one of the legendary bird trio. The Wildfire. You may discard any number of fire energy cards attached from Moltres when you use this attack. If you do, discard that many cards from the top of your opponent's deck. That feels a little broken. I mean, I know that in Pokemon you're operating with about a 60-card deck. And I don't imagine you're going to having any opportunity to put, 20 fire energies on Moltres. But still, that's something else. And Dive Bomb. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. That's definitely a gamble. 80 damage for 4 energy is pretty big back in the day. But, the chance of it doing nothing is kind of a pain. I don't think I'd run that. We have Shelter here, sticking his little tongue out at us. He has Supersonic. If heads, defending Pokemon is now confused when you flip a coin, and Hide in Shell. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent all damage done to Shelter during your opponent's next turn. So basically protect there, just kind of a signature protect. We have Omanite, our Lord and Savior Helix Fossil fellow here, ready to spread the word. Pokemon Power Clairvoyance. Your opponent plays with his or her hand face up. This power stops working when Omanite is affected by a status condition, like asleep, confused, or paralyzed. Water Gun does 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each water energy attached to Omanite. It is not used to pay for the attack. You can't add more than 20 damage this way. So that's a good way to get a little extra damage on there. You can boost it up to 30. But they put a cap on it, so they don't want him being too powerful. Let's see. Oh, this is one that's in Japanese, I believe. Unfortunately, I'm not able to read it, but that's some really interesting artwork. Looks like a guy in a hazmat suit is either sucking up some chemicals or spraying them. Pretty snazzy. I'll have to look up what that card is. If anybody knows what this card is and what it does, let me know. I'd be very curious to find out. We have the Gambler. Shuffle your hand into your deck, flip a coin. If heads, draw 8 cards. If tails, draw 1 card. Now that's pretty darn good. Obviously you have the drawback of you could get 1 card, but 8 cards would be nice, especially if you kind of bricked on the first draw. I guess it depends how lucky you're feeling, or if you just kind of want to play it as a meme card. We have Mr. Fuji. Choose a Pokemon on your bench, shuffle it, and any cards attached to it into your deck. This is some really cute artwork. I wonder if they redid this to like a full art trainer at any point, because I would love to see that. He's got a little Pikachu, the Cubone that he's known for, kind of being a part of the Cubone story in Lavender Town. A Lickitung, a Weedle, and a little Poliwag just looking cute in the background. How sweet. I love the, I think it's Pokemon Generations episode that he's featured in. The little YouTube miniseries, or like little anime miniseries they did with Red and Blue. Very cool. Trainer Recycle. That's a sad looking little Jigglypuff. I hope it's okay. Must be getting put in the PC. Flip a coin. If heads, put a card in your discard pile on top of your deck. Now that's pretty nice. Although you're depending on a coin flip, unfortunately. Energy search. Search your deck for a basic energy card and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. We have Ekans. He's got something that does 20 damage. Knowing him, that's probably Wrap or something like that. The little snake Pokemon. Little Krabby, keeping lookout on the beach. He has Call for Family. Search your deck for another basic Pokemon named Krabby and put it onto your bench. An Iron Grip. 20 damage for 2 energy. 1 needs to be water. Another Gambler. And it looks like we have Giovanni's Nidorina here. I love these old trainer, like gym leader cards. They're just so cool. Pokemon seems to have so much personality. This Nidorina knows it's going to grow up to be a really powerful Nidoqueen. And it's cute that they also, this is something they brought back in some later generations of the cards, later series, where they do the level. This is level 35 with 80 HP. I'm gonna guess that one of these is probably Double Kick, because that's a pretty signature move for Nidorina. I don't know what the other would be. Little Giovanni looking smug in the bottom here. But he's got a right to be. He's got some strong Pokemon. He's got a pretty well-known, notorious Team Rocket. And he's loaded, so. Let's see. Got Gold Duck here. Interesting choice of color palette for him. I don't remember his claws being so pronounced, or his beak being so dark. He has Psyshock. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Hyper Beam. surprisingly, which is treated as a water type here. The defending Pokemon has any energy cards attached to it, choose one of them and discard it. Interesting. It's very interesting to see a Hyper Beam where you don't have to like skip a turn after, like discard your energies or anything. There's really no drawback for him to be using Hyper Beam. It almost feels like a mistranslation or something. We have, looks like Koga's, I can't tell if that's a Pidgeotto or a Pidgeot. Oh, by the fact that that's level 9, that's gotta just be a Pidgey then. Just looks special. It looks like it's got a letter that it's carrying. It's really surprising to see that that's Koga's, because he's not associated with having any flying type. He's the poison type. So it's really interesting. Level 9 Pidgey with Koga here. This is another Japanese trainer card. Looks like there's a little Mr. Mime in the background. And this R makes me think this is some sort of Team Rocket contraption. If you folks happen to know what this card is or what it does, definitely let me know. Looks very interesting. It's the same art style as the other one. We have a Zubat. Koga's Zubat here. Level 14, 40 HP. My guess with this would be like Leech Life or something. It's a 10 times coin flip result kind of move. Looks like he's got a few of them in the background as support. A little Squirtle here. Very cute little artwork for this guy. Looks like he's on the ocean floor or something. How dark it is and the little light splotches. Another Persian. This one is in Japanese as well. Geodude with Stone Barrage. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 10 damage times the number of heads. So he doesn't even have a limit on how much he can do. If you got super lucky, who knows? You could take out like a big Pokemon with him. Goodbye Charizard. A single Geodude with a lot of luck on his side. Little Mankey here with some very stylized artwork. I believe it's probably like Scratch or Fury Swipes or something. It's a 20 plus damage move. It's from the Rocket set, it looks like. Arbok here. I like the little pattern on him. He looks very surprised. Now that I know that his pattern changes, I'm always looking out to see what pattern they decide to put on Arbok. He has Terror Strike. Flip a coin. If heads and if your opponent has any benched Pokemon, he or she chooses one of them and switches it with the defending Pokemon. And Poison Fang. 20 damage, a non-conditional poison for 3 energy. Oh, look at that little Slowpoke. I just love that they chose for this artwork to just do him centered and tiny in the middle of a field here. No additional details. This is what it looks like in Slowpoke's like dreams or in his head when he's just walking around. Oh, he's known as the dopey Pokemon. I wonder if that's changed or if I go into like Pokemon Sword and Shield, if that's still going to be his little description. He is Spacing Out and Scavenge as his moves. He's got his evolution Slowbro here. Pokemon power is Strange Behavior. And Psyshock. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is paralyzed. 20 damage anyway, so that's a pretty solid move. I gotta say, I absolutely love the Galarian Slowpoke farm, and I love that now I can walk around and just see him milling about on the beach. Like, Isle of Armor I've found really charming so far. That's one of my favorite things, is just seeing the kind of little derpy Slowpoke milling about. I really hope I can find a shiny of him. It'd be worth grinding for, just because he looks so silly. We have Horsey here. Looks like he's in the process of using his smokescreen move. If the defending Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, that attack does nothing. So that's how kind of they handle the accuracy sort of thing. Kingler. Flail does 10 damage times the number of damage counters on Kingler, so that could do... It's got 60 HP, so that could do up to 50 damage for 1 energy if you play it right, which is pretty good. And Crab Hammer, which is just a even 40, no effects, for 3 energy. We've got Japanese Marowak here. I believe this has got to be Bone Meringue, or like Bone Rush or something, from how many times I've seen the English version of this card. Very cool. Just out in the field, looks like he's attacking either us or some poor unsuspecting Pokemon we're seeing the view of. Maybe he didn't like the cameraman in Pokemon Snap. Drowsy, looking quite ferocious. I like that for some reason they gave it gold text here. If anyone's more familiar with the Japanese cards, let me know why he gets cool gold text. Like, this must be a Pokemon ability, but still, wonder why he gets that sweet gold text. Considering I don't believe he's holographic. Yeah, he's not. We have Sabrina trainer card. I love her design. Pretty much every outfit she has is cool. I like that it just says ESP here. Looks like she's making a bunch of Pokedolls. Well, I hope those are Pokedolls, otherwise those Pokemon are in for a ride. Levitate in the background, using her telekinesis. A very adorable little Eevee chasing some butterflies. Having the time of his life out there in the wild area. He's another one who's had his design changed quite a bit. I think they dialed down having so many little fluff sections to focus on a more centralized fluff for him. Probably makes him easier to draw consistently. And they've lightened him up quite a bit. His fur's not quite so dark. I would love to see some region exclusives of this little guy, where like maybe he's got like brown fluff and then like a black tips on the ears and the tail, or just something nifty. And I know his shiny doesn't do a whole lot. I think it's just like a lighter color. Psyduck looking a little devastated with life here. Can't remember if he left the hose on in the backyard, if the tea kettle's still boiling on the stove, but he's got to clock into work in 5 minutes, so it's gonna have to wait for when he gets home and either has the house burnt down or a big water bill. Oh, he's looking at his little reflection. That's pretty cute. I didn't notice that at first. There's a little unidentified fish in the background. By the shape, it almost looks like a wishy-washy, but that wouldn't be around during this generation. Up next, we have Kabuto, little fossil guy up here. I usually chose the Kabuto fossil. I just like how Kabutops looks with his little scythe hands. He looks more intimidating to me. We have a very fat and happy Raichu with Giga Shock. I'd like to bring that back. Just sounds cool. Choose 3 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This attack does 10 damage to each of them. If your opponent has fewer than 3 bench Pokemon, do the damage to each of them. Giga Shock does 30 damage. I have Ghastly here, hanging out in an alley. He has Lick, energy conversion. Put up two energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Ghastly does 10 damage to itself. I mean, I guess you could kind of just self-sacrifice Ghastly in order to get some new energies back, to recycle your energies. He's got 50 HP, so you'd be limited to 4 uses of that, assuming you didn't even take damage from the opponent. We've got repeats of our little crabby and Psyduck friends, but for Japanese cards. Same with Nidoran female. I always trip over if it's Nidoran or Nidorina. I have Muck here, giving us a little wave. It's the Pokemon power Toxic Gas. Ignore all Pokemon powers other than toxic gases. Its power stops working. So basically it's just a way to ignore other Pokemon's Pokepowers. And Sludge. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. This is back in the day when the split for poison-type Pokemon is they ended up in the grass typing. Then for a while they went over to putting them in psychic typing. Then I think even dark typing. Now I'm not sure if they're back at grass or psychic or still in the dark typing for the cards. We have a Zubat here with Supersonic, Leech Life, his little signature moves, and he's still got his 3 buddies in the background. And on the end, we've got Graveler here. Looks like it was colored in crayon with all that cool texture going on. He has Harden. During your opponent's next turn, whenever 30 or less damage is done to Graveler, prevent the damage. Rock Throw. So if you put him up against some like basic Pokemon or something, you could really just kind of get in their way and ruin their day if their attack is not very high. We have Grimer, just skulking around the city at night here. Looks like he's out for a nighttime stroll. So we got the moon in the background. He's sitting by a little vat of presumably toxic waste. Golbat here. It's a pretty interesting little artistic pose there. Looks like he's in the middle of using his wing attack. Also has Leech Life. Remove a number of damage counters from Golbat equal to the damage done to the defending Pokemon. So he's got some self-sustainability in that he can heal himself 20 damage at a time, assuming they don't have a resistance to grass. Weezing here. Looks like he's getting a little sick of his other half. Maybe they had an argument. He has Smog. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. Self-destruct. Does 10 damage to each Pokemon on each player's bench. Weezing does 60 damage to itself, so he takes himself out. I guess that would be kind of for a desperate situation or trying to just end the game quickly. If, only had one prize card left that you needed to take to win. I have a Cloyster here. Looking smug with Clamp. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Tails, this doesn't do anything. That could be a pain in the butt. Spike Cannon, flip 2 coins. This attack does 30 damage times the number of heads. Now it's pretty solid considering it only takes 2 energy and you get 2, hopefully you get at least 1 head, otherwise you're going to do 0 damage, but the odds are you'll at least do 30 damage for 2 water energy. We have Mew here, looking really cute. Nice little kind of, I guess they pick psychic cloud colors for the background. New species Pokemon. Psywave, and De-Evolution Beam. Choose an evolved Pokemon. Return the highest stage evolution card on that Pokemon to the player's hand. So that's pretty snazzy. Could really mix things up. The only downfall is he's got 50 HP to work with. And his one attack Psywaves does 10 damage times the number of energy cards attached to the defending Pokemon. So, I mean, that could situationally be pretty strong for one psychic energy. I guess that'd be more of a late game thing you'd want to use. Sand Slash here with Slash, true to his name, and Fury Swipes. Flip 3 cards. Its attack does 20 damage times the number of heads. So, fingers crossed you at least get one head. Seadra. He's got a lighter color scheme than I'm used to seeing, which is kind of cool. The Dragon Pokemon with Water Gun and Agility for his. It's interesting seeing on the Pokemon card game that Agility does damage. Whereas in the games, it's just a speed boost. Next up we have Goldeen, just swimming around with a basic horn attack here. Nothing too exciting. Hopefully Seaking gets a bunch of added stuff because she's looking a little sparse here. He or she. Another Kabuto with his friends. And here we do have a couple of repeats. Almost full page of Japanese cards. Eevee. This is the art style that I think we're more familiar with, where its fluff is a little bit smaller, a little bit simpler, and it's got kind of more of the like anime eyes and art style, I think, with the little hair floofs. Almost looks like a shonen protagonist with a little spiky hair. Very cute. I think this is my favorite Eevee card from this kind of timeline. We have a Weepin' Bell here, just chilling. I believe that like there's a card that mentions that the drool here is like a sweet scent but also poisonous. A very serious Psyduck here. I really like this art for how it almost like, it's very crisp, almost makes him look human with that expression of just, it doesn't look like pain in this card. Sometimes they make him look like he's hurting. He just looks determined and angry. Pretty snazzy. Blaine's Doduo, for some reason, in this kind of like gym leader trainer set. He's got a Doduo instead of his usual fire types. Wonder if they gave pretty much every gym leader like a little bird Pokemon or something, because Koga's rocking a Pidgey, which he never had. I have Voltorb here. Almost looks like some city lights in the background. He's looking angry and ready to self-destruct as always. And his includes a little level too, even though I guess it's because it's a rocket card. We have Krabby again. He's on watch at the beach. Maybe he took up a part-time position as a lifeguard and he's taken his job seriously. A new Tentacool. For some reason he's able to shine light out of his little orbs here. That's interesting. Pokepower is Cowardice. Anytime during your turn, before you attack, you may return Tentacool to your hand. Discard all cards attached to Tentacool. This power can't be used the turn you put Tentacool in play. I feel like you'd rather just retreat, and he doesn't even have a retreat cost. I wonder what the benefit is of this. I'm probably just not thinking about it from the right angle. He has Acid as well. And then a repeat of Omanite and Horsey. And that is officially this whole binder of Pokemon cards from the kind of the oldest set I have. Let me know if you guys would like me to continue this sort of series with some of my binders of Pokemon cards with sets that are a little bit newer than this set, but not as new as like the current like Rebel Clash or anything like that kind of set. But just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching and taking time out of your day to watch my videos and leave comments and feedback and like the videos. I really appreciate how supportive you guys have been, and how much you've done in terms of leaving feedback and suggestions and just really helping me out. So I hope that you guys have a great day or night or afternoon, and that things are well with you, and that you are enjoying your day. And I will see you folks in the next video. Goodbye, guys.